Today we are reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong, the big anticipated fight between two godlike monsters.
Mm-hmm. You have giant monsters duking it on the big screen once again.
Screen in big cities, killing millions of people, and nobody giving a shit because it's monsters fighting. Collateral damage.
I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Okay, so Godzilla vs. Kong, not to be confused with the 1962 Japanese film King Kong vs. Godzilla, is the fourth film of the MonsterVerse, being a sequel to both Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island. It is also the 12th movie to feature King Kong and the 36th to feature Godzilla. Directed by Adam Wingard, who also made the forgettable remake to Blair Witch and the bastardization of Death Note, and everybody wants to forget. I mean, it was shit.
Yeah.
This cast pretty much is like an extremely sizable cast. It has Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Sean O'Guri, Isa Gonzalez, Julian Dennison, Lance Reddick, which I think is awesome, and of course many more.
So the film opens with Kong realizing that he's being kept in captivity in this fake environment kind of thing. And meanwhile, Godzilla just appears out of nowhere and randomly attacks a city, though we eventually figure out that it's not really a random attack. It only just looks random, and it's not so much attacking a city as it is attacking a corporation, because Godzilla's a communist now, I guess. We're led on two separate plots, one of which where a scientist played by Skarsgård tries to use Kong as a method to track the secret home of the Titans, somewhere hidden in the hollow earth. And the other subplot follows this conspiracy theorist and two teenagers as they try to look into the corporation that Godzilla tried to take over, or tried to destroy. Those are basically our two plots, but they eventually do converge over time as, Godzilla attacks Kong, then turns out the corporation was making Mechagodzilla, and Mechagodzilla's in the movie now, and he shows up. And we get a huge fight scene with those three. So that's basically the plot of this movie, and it's a fun time.
Yeah, like, the plot isn't anything to write home. It was serviceable, yeah. I'll say. There are a little too many human characters, but one thing we can agree on is at least the human characters, or the human parts of the movie, are at least there to help set up the monster scenes.
Exactly.
Like, they act like plot devices that leads you to... They're like bridges in between plots that will lead up to the inevitable fights.
Because what made the 2014 Godzilla so bad was that the monsters felt like they were just there to propel the human drama. Well, here it's like the focus is more on the monsters in the sense that the humans are constantly propelling them.
And in my opinion, it should be all from the monster's perspective. The humans should just be ants in this movie, in my opinion, because there's enough character within these characters to tell a compelling story without the need of human characters.
Like King Kong actually has some really good moments in this movie where he is characterized very well.
Exactly. Imagine the scene when they finally discover Hollow Earth is the center of the planet where these monsters hail from, essentially. It's a whole journey, a whole nice, excellent visual sequence that leads him into Hollow Earth. And he basically explores Hollow Earth, reconnecting with his old stomping grounds and finding his throne and his little axe. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it's so, but we've seen it from the human perspective. And even though it's very cool eye candy to see a giant that's reclaimed his throne and stomp his staff, I mean, it would have been so much more emotionally impactful to see this from Kong's perspective.
Well, yeah, especially since that, because we can see in the movie, Kong feels like a sense of familiarity, but he clearly doesn't recognize this place, because this is the home of his ancestors. So this is a very emotional experience for him, and I think it'd get a little more insight if we had a little more, if it was more focused on him. We had more scenes of him just, reacting to things, because those are great sequences when we do get those scenes. Seeing Kong react to the things around him. You can see, the cogs in his mind turning and thinking, oh, I can put this axe into this hole, and it does a thing.
Let's live through Kong. Let's experience this through Kong's eyes.
Yeah, because Kong is very well characterized in this movie. I just wish Godzilla...
He's an awesome main character.
I wish Godzilla had more opportunities to shine personality-wise.
Yeah, he was shining as a a guy who's came in to wreck shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was just a Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, like,
that's all he...
That was his purpose.
That's all he was this movie. Like, I feel like I would love it if he had the same treatment that Kong got, where Kong got to explore it, where we got to see more of his personality and his character.
The only character motives that we seen was through the human's perspective, through that corporation. Because, of course, like, the place he attacked at the beginning of the movie wasn't a random place. It was a place that it was creating Mecha Godzilla. And obviously through sonars, the shit that was giving off was transmitting to him, and he's viewed as a threat or some shit.
Yeah, he's like,
you know what I'm saying?
Who the fuck is this bitch trying to be the new alpha?
You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's Kong's point. A new alpha is sensing. He must take it out. Because he's the alpha. It's simple power plays. You know what I mean? Similar with Kong. You know, and the only real character moment of Godzilla was when he kicked Kong's ass and basically gave him the nod off to stand down. And to me, that was very solid. But that was the only real character moments. Like, it was really Kong. But Kong, that's what made Kong Skull Island, like, Kong overall throughout film history usually had good characterization.
Oh, he always
So, you know what I mean? He's always been a relatable, likable character. I think that's why I went in.
Even back in the 30s version, we always had, like, he always had this strong character to him.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So I just wish Godzilla had a little more. I guess Kong is a little more relatable because monkeys, gorillas and monkeys are like apes in general are like closer to humans than, I guess, a lizard,
also, like,
giant lizards.
I think it's easier to see Kong as more like an animal than it is for Godzilla. Godzilla you kind of see more as a monster.
Yeah, because that dude's just like a 1,000-foot lizard or some shit. Like,
yeah, like he just destroys.
Like
he just destroys shit. Like he doesn't have. Like the thing is, Godzilla never really shows indications that there's more motivation to. Like, I'm sure there is more motivation to his character, but we never really get to see that from him.
Yeah.
Well, with King Kong, you can see in his eyes that he's like thinking about stuff, like the way he looks. Certain people are like, oh, you seem nice.
Yeah, okay. like how he knew sign language.
Yeah, like he learned sign language to the girl.
How he connected with the only interesting human character in this whole story, who was pretty much was mute. Yeah, it was a mute, and she was an offspring from Kong's
original island.
From Skull Island.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She was with that tribe. So she was the only human character that made sense to me in that way.
She was the best human character, and she didn't say a goddamn word.
Yeah, that tells you it's visual, man. It's all about what the characters do rather than what they say. One thing I would say is that I'm glad, like in the fight sequences, there's a lot of disregard for humanity. Like the monsters kind of even like Kong even used a fucking plane with a guy in it to use it as like a boomerang to hit Godzilla. I'm like, he just have some disregard for humanity, and that shows how small we are, just how small we are as compared to these beasts. And I'm like thousands
of people die, nobody cares.
Dude, like 100,000 people died, and like they pretty much murdered the fuck out of Hong Kong.
Poor Hong Kong got destroyed by King Kong and Godzilla. Man.
But you know, like I like, you know what I mean, like this movie was decent. I thought it was it had a lot of cool sequences. Like I like the scene where it had like some visual references to prior movies, with the most obvious one being Kong being restricted by chains on the boat.
Oh yeah, like that's just ripped straight from the 33 movie. It's classic.
You know what I mean? And you know, and the bond with the human child, and the scenes where he's exploring. Like we already talked about this. Like all those scenes were really good. But sadly enough, Godzilla didn't get that, which kind of.
Yeah,
for the movie, like,
I wanted Godzilla to get that same. I wanted Godzilla to have that same level of character development. That'd been great.
Godzilla's purpose was just to find niggas and kill niggas and
like
fuck niggas.
He's there to show up and lay the smacketh down on any monster that there's.
I smacketh thee on that ass. Pow!
Leading up to the climax, we have many scenes of Godzilla and Kong beating the shit out of each other. Godzilla having a victory in the ocean, and Kong having a victory in Hong Kong. At the end of the day, the two have to team up to take on Mecha Godzilla, who's crazy powerful in this movie.
I mean, he was spewing out lasers. I mean, he was
in the Japanese movies, like Godzilla, like Mecha Godzilla is roughly on par with Godzilla in terms of strength. So the see that they need the both of them to take him out is kind of out there, but Mecha Godzilla is cool, so I'm cool with it.
Godzilla versus Kong. Who did you pick and why?
I picked Godzilla because atomic breath.
Me, I picked Kong because I think I like Kong better, and Kong has hands. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And since he's like just as big as Kong in this movie, I think he could have put him like a chokehold or some shit. Cut his breath off. But the truth of the matter is, the only reason why Godzilla was really able to lead the beat down on him was simply because it was on his home turf. You know what I mean? Like, he kept pushing him into the water. You know what I mean? And the first fight scene was Kong was trying to balance himself on different ships to take on Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, he fought him on his turf. if he brought that shit out to Hollow Earth, that shit wasn't going on like that. Kong was gonna whip his ass. You know what I mean? So I had to say it was a disadvantage.
But like Kong needed a weapon to even like be on par with him.
Who gives a fuck? He has atomic breath.
That's my point. Like Godzilla has all he needs to kick Kong's ass. Kong needed a superpowered
But he had the
axe.
fucking water. It was in Hollow Earth, in his turf. Kong would have wiped him. Kong would have washed him. You know what I mean? Like, Kong had these little bitty hands. I'm like, fucking bang, bang, bang.
Because he has that long ass tail. He's not gonna let him.
I mean, Kong's not get a hold of it and fling his shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think in like his turf, the fight would go down a lot differently. That's all I'm saying. King Kong's the man. I mean, like,
King Kong needs a weapon to stand up. Godzilla don't need no weapon to stand up.
I think he need that weapon. I just think he needs to fight him in his home.
I think he did need that weapon. I think that's why they gave him the weapon, because they couldn't think of any other way he could stand up.
Well, between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, I mean, he needs something. I mean, they have fire breath. He needs something to level the playing field. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But however, I felt in his if on his home turf, that fight was not ending the same. A word. Oh God. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, I think we reached the end of this to the grading section, Nick.
Yeah.
Unless you have more things to say about this movie that hasn't been said already.
Trying to think. Oh yeah. One thing that I took notice of, like as this movie was coming out, was the director Wingard made a statement that there would be a clear winner. Do you think that were you satisfied with how the quote unquote clear winner was settled?
I mean, Godzilla obviously won in the movie, but I just feel that...
Like, do you feel like they delivered in a satisfying way?
No, hell no. I felt the fight should have been a little more give and take. I felt the fight should have been longer. I felt the fight should have been on more turfs. I think they should have had a fight in Hollow Earth. I think the whole film should have been just battling, to be honest. Godzilla vs. Kong.
To be honest, this might sound a bit extreme, but I feel like that fight should have been a fight to the death.
I agree. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I want the clearest possible
They kind of
winner.
went BVS with this shit. Like,
he's
not our enemy. Given Gus said he's not our enemy, then he beat up a bigger threat, Mechagodzilla. I mean, that kind of took away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little.
You know.
And then Kong just goes to this different place where Godzilla's not going to be.
Yeah. So that kind of made the ending kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be, like, supposedly, like, the ending, I'm thinking something's going to be really, like, massive and to the death type shit. Like, nobody's getting alive.
Yeah.
That would have amped up the pump factor.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. Like, I don't feel like the ending really delivered on director's promise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but let's get to the grading section. So, Nick, what are you going to give this movie on a scale of a 4.0 GPA?
I'd give it a 3. A solid 3.
That's fair. I think I'll give it the same. Why do you give it a 3.0?
Because it is in fact an entertaining experience. It is a good movie. It's like I do like the give and take. I do like the fight scenes that are in it. The human scenes aren't too bad. They don't last like too long, though. It's still like a little less of them. But so like at the end of the day, like it has a bit of cons. No, it has a bit of cons, not cons. Cons. There's a bit of cons, but I don't think they outweigh the pros. I think the pros eventually just barely outweigh it, making this a pretty good watch.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. I felt there were some pros, but there were a lot of cons, and the cons was integral to my feelings about the way this whole story played out. Like, the ending was lackluster. It had some good fight sequences. It did deliver on some action. It did deliver on some fights.
Yes.
It just wasn't satisfying enough for me. And the human characters kind of weighed down, but they also do help the plot progress as well. So it's kind of give or take with him. Mm-hmm. So it's 50-50 for me. So I had to give it like a 3.0.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but it's not the best. So
No.
I give it a 3.0.
It's not the best thing you could be watching, but I mean, if you could get tickets, it's fun on the big screen.
Yeah, definitely. Watch it on the big screen. I wholeheartedly suggest that you watch this in movies.
Like, don't just watch it. Don't just watch it at home just because you have HBO Max. Just take the extra
Go
step.
to the movies,
Like, see in IMAX.
Get
like the
Dolby
best sound.
Cinema.
Get the best visuals and sound systems. Just really enjoy the carnage.
Mm-hmm. Trust me. That's the best. That's the best way to enjoy a film like this.
Yes.
Heed our words. Trust. Believe. So.
But with that being said,
take your mask. Go to the theaters.
Yeah.
Eat some popcorn. Enjoy the big fight, man. Absolutely.
100%.
Positively.
And with that being said, Thank you for joining us again, and if you like the video, please hit that like button as hard as you can. Also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you stay up to date with all of our new videos being released.
We've been saying this for a long time. This is going to come out, a review to this, and then we have the 2 more trades ready to rock and roll.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that. A bunch of anime stuff is coming out. You know, so we have a whole bunch of content, so stay tuned for that. A bunch of reactions. News for 5B's coming out May 28th, so like about 2 months, you know what I mean? We're going to be back on that, you know, and other stuff is coming out, so stay tuned, man.
Yeah.
And of course, follow us on social media.
We have a whole bunch of links on the screen right now. Use them, follow them. We'll even have the actual links in the description.
Follow my Insta. Follow my Insta for my content. Follow Nick's Insta.
We have Instas, we have Twitters, we have all sorts of accounts. Follow them all.
My Insta, Nick's Twitter, Underdeveloped's Twitter, and of course our Stardust account where we posted a first reaction out of the movie theaters for this review. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
So watch that. You know what I mean? You know, support us on Stardust. You know, and catch our early reactions. You know, so
yeah.
So think of that as our spoiler-free reviews, and our YouTube channel as our reviews, with full spoiler discussions and, you know, talking this film out and grades. So
yeah.
With that said,
we'll be seeing you all next time.
Au revoir. Good luck. See you guys.
Peace out.
Peace out.
On a related note, are you at all concerned by the delight your daughter seems to be taking in all this?
Go for the eyes, Papa! That is their weak point!
Not really. Why?